Temptation is a common fallen nature of all human beings. The person who does not have temptation, he or she little bit dull in personality. He or she does not have attraction to move ahead sharply and move swiftly. Sometimes it is good for good result, but most of the time temptation creates suffering in our life. Temptations for capturing others' power, others' property, others' position is bad for our personalities. This is a common emotion, but we don't know commonly. Because of this, consciously or unconsciously, we become victim of temptation. Temptation actually makes our all type of fallen nature. For example, when we tempted for one position or certain property or power, if we don't get as we desire, we become angry. If it is become out of control, that means we become the inferior, we become victim of sad. Sometimes this sadness makes very crude situations, and weak-minded people sometimes suicide. They feel they have lost everything, even the not. And sometimes the powerful persons, if tempted for a woman, for a position, for a power, for a property, cannot get, he or she become arrogant and sometimes do violence which is harmful for himself or herself, for society, and for the surrounding realities. And such way, do many types of crime, especially the juvenile crime, is happening in the young generation, which is called young gang. This is a common social problems of the society. So we must have to be alert about the temptations which we don't belong and which is not is possible to gain. We should not be tempted for that property or positions or materials. The peoples mostly tempted by women, especially men. In developed world, of course, women also be tempted by men, and men also tempted by women. But in the developing world, especially little bit conservative world, men generally tempted by women. Even though one woman is beautiful more than your lover, more than your partner, more than your wife, you have to be understand your limit, your arena. You have to be really satisfied. Otherwise, your position will lose and you will suffer sometimes very crudely. So we need to learn about the temptations, especially from the mythology, and ethical stories. Science actually don't explain directly about temptation, but there is some kinds of description of mental disorder in the psychology and philosophy. Anyway, my request, please try to protect yourself as your best from the unwanted temptations which make suffering every day for you, for family, for society. Best practice for avoiding the temptation is not to show or not to be influenced much from other presentations. Sometimes we always show ourselves as we are not. In this digital era, everybody loves to say their good stories and everybody loves to show their good faces. But behind the good, behind the attraction, there is a dark side as well. But people mostly don't love to show their real face. So I personally say the social media is the media of temptation, which directly, indirectly makes our suffering by tempting us. Of course, we will show ourselves for our dignified position, but we have to be careful about our object also. Otherwise, directly, indirectly, some presentations makes suffering. Sometimes, for overshowing, people become victim of robbery, killing, crime, jealousy, and victim of angerness. Such way, we become target of the evil power, evil persons. We need to be careful about presentation, especially public media. Of course, we will say for our professional reasons, for our good social positions, but we have to be careful for on the over exposing, over expression, and over saying. Otherwise, sometime it will make sad situations instead of good situation.